Hello and welcome everyone. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending upon where in the world you are joining us from. My name is Ron Hoppe. I'm the CEO of Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to our webinar today, Preparing for Expenses in the United States. This is another in our series of webinars that we're sharing with applicants to ensure that you have the best overall experience, not only throughout the immigration process, but also in your relocation process, your settlement in the U.S., and establishing a new life for yourself and your family here in the United States. A couple of things that I'd like to touch on just before we get started today. I see many of you are already checking in and saying good morning or hello in the chat feature of our screen. Thank you for doing that. And what I would ask is if you would please take a moment and just let us know what country you are joining us from. Some of you are indicating that in your message, but if everyone could just make a quick notation in the chat box about the country that you're joining us from, that would be greatly appreciated. We do keep track, and each of these webinars, we're usually joined by applicants from more than 20 different countries. So if you would do that, we would certainly greatly appreciate it. Secondly, again, with regards to the chat feature, as we go through the presentation today, please feel free to just jot down your questions as we go along, or jot them down in the chat feature. One of our colleagues is monitoring the questions, and at the end of the presentation today, we will do our best to answer as many of those as we possibly can. All right, so please, questions in the chat box, and we'll do our very best to answer as many questions as we can. Just before I actually introduce our presenters for today, I believe you're also going to see in the top right-hand corner of your screen, just at the top of the chat box, sort of a little yellow box. And in there, we've provided information that if you need to contact a recruiter, okay? So if you don't already have a job offer with a U.S. employer that we've arranged for you, if you're joining us today and you are still seeking a job offer, or would be interested in learning more about the opportunities that we have available, we have live recruiters standing by. And if you just click on this link here in this yellow box, it may take a minute or two, but you will be connected live with the HealthStaff recruiter who will be able to assist you. Lastly, just before we do get into our presentation today, I just want to share with everyone here that Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions has very recently launched a great new referral rewards program. And this referral rewards program is specifically focused on referrals of registered nurses who have passed the NCLEX exam. And CJ, I'm going to ask if you could, at some point during the presentation today, enter the link to our referrals page in the chat feature so that anyone that might be interested in referring one of their registered nurse colleagues that's already passed NCLEX to us, that they're actually able to do so. I see Tracy's already put it up here, refer a nurse friend. So if that's something that might be of interest, it's a great opportunity for you to be rewarded in cash or in other forms of gift cards, etc. So just something that I want to bring to your attention and share with you as well. We're really excited to bring you this webinar session this morning, preparing for expenses in the United States. You know, just like those of you who are nurses took the time and made the effort and invested, your energy in preparing for the NCLEX exam, it's equally important that you spend time preparing for your relocation process to the U.S. And really, that's true for whether you're a registered nurse, an MLT, a nurse aide. Preparation is fundamental to success, virtually in any worthwhile endeavor in life. But in this particular case, we're going to help you focus on some of the issues that you need to be considering and working on and preparing for as you look forward to the time that you'll be coming to the U.S. I'm very pleased to introduce to you two members of the HealthStaff team that are very closely involved with relocations and helping our candidates make a successful transition to the U.S. It's my pleasure to introduce to everyone Molly Lenehan, who will be presenting this morning along with our colleague DeAndre Ruffin. I'm glad that Molly and DeAndre are able to join us today. They really are experts in this topic. So without any further introduction or ado, Molly, DeAndre, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Ron, and good morning, everyone. We are so happy to have you all here with us. Just to jump on over to our very first slide today, this is just giving us an overview of what we will be discussing. And in our discussion today, we're just going to be just talking about some of the expenses that you will come into as you prepare for your transition here in the United States, and some of those expenses that you're going to have upon your arrival here in the United States, and then expenses that you may have throughout your entire time here in the United States, and what to be prepared for and what to look out for as you get ready for your transition here into the United States. As we go through this today, we'll be talking about many different aspects of this, but really ultimately how to prepare yourself to have the most successful relocation as you are transitioning to the United States. As Bobby Unser says, success is where preparation and opportunity meet. But with that being said, I'm going to pass the time over to DeAndre.
Yes, so today will be an exciting opportunity for us to learn more about the expenses in the United States. As you all know, coming to the United States requires a lot of effort and it can be a challenge. And today we hope to share some of the expenses that you'll encounter. And some of these expenses are a $200 to $500 medical exam, a $220 green card fee, a $345 fee bill, and an average $900 to $1,400 per dependent flight ticket. Of course, baggage fees, prices may vary, and as well as all of these prices may vary. But these are some of the expenses you may encounter during your transition.
Thank you, DeAndre. Yes, just to kind of comment on that a bit. When you see that average of $900 to $1,400 per dependent flight ticket, that's because it really depends upon where you're going, where you're coming from, what time of year you are traveling. There's all kinds of factors that can kind of go into what that is. So we want to just best prepare you and have that full range of how much that it could cost for your flight ticket. Now, you as a candidate hired on by your employer here at Worldwide HealthStaff Solutions, your personal ticket will be covered by us here at Worldwide. But it is important to note that any dependent tickets or dependent bills or dependent fees will have to be paid before arrival. So thank you very much, DeAndre. I'm going to just jump on over here. Wonderful. On this slide, we're taking a look at some of the renting expenses. Now, rent is going to be one of the biggest expenses you have here in the United States and upon your arrival, and one of the biggest fees that you're going to have while you're getting settled in. I think many of us here in the United States could agree that rent is one of our biggest bills. DeAndre, what would you say about that? You think that's about accurate, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say that's accurate. It is usually about a third of your expenses is your rent.
Yes, absolutely. I agree completely with that. And as we talk about what those renting expenses are, we kind of go over what the very first initial pricing is going to be and what you may see there later on. But one of the very first things as you're going to come into as you are looking for your place to rent and finding an apartment or a home that is perfect for you is the application fee. The fee to apply to be approved to rent that space. Now, I've seen these range anywhere from about $35 to $70, and that doesn't mean that can't be different depending on where you're renting and where you're going to, as every complex and every landlord or every realtor is completely different in that aspect. You're also going to have a safety deposit. A safety deposit is what you put down to secure your spot at that house. So let's say you're renting a place that's $1,000. They may require $1,000 deposit as well, or they may require first and last months, or they may have a set amount that they require for you to be able to secure that house. Now, usually, if the property is left in the same manner that it was rented in, that is eligible to be refunded back. However, again, this is something that's completely unique to the complex and completely unique to where you are renting. And then, of course, you have the rent fee. That's a big one, of course. And then you also may come into a pet rent fee. If you're coming over with pets or getting a pet upon your arrival, a lot of places do require another deposit for pets, as well as a monthly fee on top of that. And then kind of just going along with basic living spaces, you're going to have utilities. This includes water, electricity, of course, internet to be able to connect with us here at Worldwide or other colleagues or your employer. And then you also may have expenses for certain services such as trash, pest control, and maintenance on your house. DeAndre, was there anything you wanted to add to that? I know I just gave a lot of information.
I would just like to add that I know that this can be a hard thing to do, and it is so important that preparation is key and that you are able to put down the safety deposit as well as an application fee before coming to the U.S. And Molly, what would you say nurses need as soon as they land in the U.S.?
What do they need? As we're going to go through these slides today, savings before your arrival are going to set you up for the most success here. For your comfortability, for your success, and for your ease of mind for you and your family, saving as much as you can before your arrival is going to be the most key factor here. With that being said, I'll jump us on over to the next slide.
Perfect. Yeah, and I would definitely like to add to that not only is saving important, but some other things that may be important when you first come to the U.S. is things like a cell phone, a hotel incidental fee that will be used. Of course, you would need groceries, and as well as furniture and living necessities, as most apartments you will get when you arrive to the U.S. will not be furnished. And transportation. It is so important that you have transportation to and from your facility location, or more specifically your facility, as well as just to get around town. You're able to get around town via rideshare, a car, and with a car that comes with having a car payment, registration fees, and other payments that come with having a car, as many of you may know from other countries as well as with a car there comes insurance as well. Every car in the U.S. needs to be insured, so if there was an accident to happen, you're able to have any issues resolved. And lastly, if you have an automobile here in the U.S., you need a driver's license, which can also have some expenses in that as well. Any add-ons, Molly?
Just to let everyone know, just in case anyone isn't aware, when we say that hotel and that incidental fee, what an incidental fee is that is an amount that the hotel will take for your stay with them, that is used to anticipate anything that may happen to that room. So let's say you break a lamp by accident in your room, then that hotel has an incidental fee on file for them that they can charge you for breaking that lamp. Now, if you leave that room exactly how you entered it and nothing is broken or damaged, then that will be returned to you. But just to clarify on what that is, I think that was all for me, but I'll jump us on over to the next slide. All right, now here's one of the most important slides in this deck. Savings before your arrival, as I kind of discussed earlier. 3 months of savings of any expenses that you may need for 3 months of living before your arrival is going to be ideal to have before you come to the United States. Now, this can look really different for every individual person. It can also look different depending on how many dependents you're coming with, or what your living arrangements are, or what your monthly expenses are. And kind of to know what that 3 months of expenses saved before your arrival is going to look like, it really comes with a lot of research before you come to the United States, checking out what the cost of living is in your local area, or what your facility location area is going to be, is what I should say, and kind of understanding what things are that you like to eat, and what the bills may be at the grocery store, and what are these utility fees going to be, and what do your dependents need? Do you have medications that you need that you'll be paying money for upon your arrival? So everyone's can look very different, but having at least that 3 months is going to save you a lot of stress. It's going to save you a lot of heartache, and it's going to just really set you up for success and make sure that you're the most comfortable here upon your arrival. And then this is going to be the biggest impact on your transition here in the United States. This is what's going to really set you up for that success, as we discussed. There may be a period of time where you're not working here upon your arrival in the United States, as you wait to get your Social Security card, and wait to get an orientation date from your employer, or wait to secure certifications or licensing. And this savings is what's going to save you a lot of stress and anxiety, which I think is a big part of it, and make sure that you're comfortable. DeAndre, do you have anything to add to this slide? Or I'll jump us on over to the next one.
Yeah, I just wanted to stress the importance of how important it is to research and budget before coming to the U.S. Each state has a different amount of how much you will pay as you live there, whereas California might be more expensive than places like West Virginia. Doing your research is very, very important.
Agreed completely. I'll jump us on over. Pass it over to you, DeAndre.
Sounds good. So another really important aspect before coming to the United States is making the most of your income when you're here. So of course, just like we mentioned before, it is so important to save up before coming to the US. But also, if you are single, you may want to consider having roommates, whereas that can split your rent cost in half or even in 3 ways, depending on how many roommates you have, as well as looking for employment. If you do have a spouse coming with you to the US, you can get your spouse employed. That would be an amazing thing to do, as that can also help split all of your costs, as well as, again, looking at the cost of living for the areas you will be in and the availability of resources in your assigned area. Certain states and certain cities have resources that help you out when it comes to food, whether that's a food bank or any other resources they may have. In addition, have your dependents follow to join you. We will discuss that in a little bit, but what that means is having you arrive first as the nurse, and then having your dependents come after or come at a later point once everything is all settled to go.
Absolutely, DeAndre. I agree with that completely. We're going to touch on a lot of these points here in later slides. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get us started on our next one here. As DeAndre said, we'll be touching on follow to join. And I think this is a big thing that a lot of our candidates could consider doing with their dependents. Having your dependents follow to join you can save a lot of stress on both you and your family. What this can really do for you and your family is set you all up for success, right? We can get a permanent house secured with furniture and necessities that they need to comfortably live, having knowledge of the area, having your transportation, so getting your vehicle all set and secured so that you guys have a way of comfortably getting groceries and going to and from school and getting to and from work. And with school being mentioned, having an understanding of the school systems, or if your child maybe not be old enough for school, what child care options do you have in that area? And what will you be using when they arrive with you? Having all of these things figured out before your dependents come, it's going to save them a lot of stress, but also yourself, just because, as you come to the United States, as we discussed, having those 3 months of savings saved before your arrival, that can rapidly deplete while you're taking care of your family while they're here. As the cost of living in the United States, it can be very high depending on what areas you're going in. So, if it's possible, consider having your dependents follow you afterwards, and then have them come and join you once you have everything secured. You're already working with your employer, making an income. That way everyone's as comfortable as can be, and on the right track to being the most successful. DeAndre, is there anything you wanted to add to that?
I would just like to add that another important thing is if they, before coming to the U.S., once you have the ability to, talk to your dependent or a spouse and be like, hey, I'm going to go first, just so I can get everything settled, that communication is key. But I would like to expound more on the next slide.
Okay, I'll get us jumped over.
Alrighty. So there are some things as well to be aware if your dependents do come with you to the U.S. Right away. Of course, there's going to be expenses as well. You are responsible for the payment and booking of their flight. And the flight average that we're seeing is around $1,000 a person, and even around these holiday months, it can be a little bit more than that. There's also fee bills that will be due before you arrive to the U.S. And also you will be responsible for the cost of living for yourself and for your family while you undergo training and certification, because before you can officially start, right, you have to have your training and your orientation. And this means you can sometimes go several weeks without a paycheck. And the cost of living in the U.S. is higher than most other countries. Molly, do you have any additions to that?
Just to comment on that flight again, like DeAndre said, during the holidays, flights can be more expensive. Also, it tends to be during the summer months of June and July. Flights can be a little bit more expensive. And anything near special holidays, whether they not be during necessarily the winter holidays, but holidays in general, you can see a spike in flights. So I just wanted to give everyone that heads up as well, that $1,000 is about average. But again, as we saw on that earlier slide, anywhere from about $900 to $1,400. But that's all. Thank you. I will pass this over to the next slide. Location research. I love this slide because this is one of the most important things to do before your arrival. You have your facility location set in stone by your employer, and now you can start that research that you would like to do and find out all the fun things to do in your location, but also figure out all the detailed things that you may need, like what is the cost of living and what's getting around going to be like, and what apartments do I have available to me or homes do I have available to me. You can see here that we have provided a link on this slide that will show you the average rent by state. I think it's important to note that even though you have this link to go by state, really dive in deep to what city you're located in or what zip code you're located in to really be able to tell what that cost of living may look like. As you get that facility confirmed and you know where you're heading into, check out sites like apartments.com or rent.com to see what the average cost of rent may be in your local area. Now, it may not be an apartment that you want to settle into, but at least you have an idea of what that cost is going to be because it's going to be relatively the same around that region. But location research is going to be one of the most important things to do before your arrival. Really to know what that cost of living is, and how to get around. And then, of course, knowing temporary and your permanent housing options to ensure that you're comfortable, you're safe, and you're happy upon your arrival. DeAndre, I will get us on over to the next slide.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that, Molly. As of course, location is such an important thing. As just like in any other country, we have the nicer parts of the area, as well as we might have some not so nice parts in some areas. It's important to do research. In addition to that, having roommates, again, like we mentioned earlier, will be one of the best ways that you can help save the cost of rent, groceries, utilities, and more. There may be people from work maybe looking forward to having a roommate, or other new travelers to the US, or maybe people that you know that are also becoming a nurse. And so take a look at the links that we provided below to see the roommates around your facility location. Other ways you can find roommates are via Facebook and other social media sites that have groups and pages to look to find roommates. And it's always important that you want to meet with your roommates before you actually live with them, or before sending any money, just so you feel comfortable and you know what you may be getting into.
Wonderful. Just to be completely transparent with you guys, I have a roommate, and I love it because it cuts my costs in half and helps me greatly as I want to save money for my long-term future. I love having a roommate. And once you kind of get through the stages of your transition here to the United States, you'll be assigned a relocation coordinator, and they can help with a lot of these resources to help you find a roommate if that is something you're interested in. But as DeAndre said, I want to emphasize that meet your roommate in person before sending any money or committing to an offer. Make sure you guys have a connection and you feel like it's going to be a good fit. Maybe check out the house or the apartment first before signing on to an offer. And also just for your own safety, you want to make sure that you're meeting in person first. But I will jump us on over to the next slide. Employment for spouses. This is a great topic to discuss. If you're coming over with your husband or wife or spouse of any sort, it's a great idea to consider what jobs they can get upon their arrival in the United States. And I think it's a great idea if you reach out to your personal employer to see if they have any janitorial service jobs or cafeteria aide jobs. If that's something that they offer, they may be willing to hire on your spouse to work in those positions while you guys get settled here in the United States. I think that's a fantastic idea. There's also a great site called Indeed jobs.com. This website allows you to find jobs by uploading your resume or creating a resume on their site and searching for available jobs. You can apply directly from there. You can call employers if they have their information on there just to inquire for more details. Always do research on the jobs that you're applying for or the ones that your spouses are applying for, just to make sure that it's something that they're going to be interested in and where they're going to be treated well. You can always do online research on those things ahead of time. And there's also a lot of small jobs. So going on Facebook or a local city group in your community to see if people need their grass mowed or babysitting or cleaning up houses, anything in the area that people may need your help with. I'm sure they would be willing to pay a fee, or if you have a certain price set, I'm sure they'd be happy to help with that. I know that I've done this in my day, gone around and mowed the lawn. DeAndre, did you have anything to add to this?
I do. I know within my own family, both of my parents worked, and it really did help provide cushion for our financial status, as well as provided that financial stability as any extra expenses that might occur, whether that's a dentist appointment or a doctor's appointment. We had those finances to be able to be covered because we had that extra amount of money coming in. So I do know with spouses working as well that it may be such a great asset to your stay here in the U.S. All right, but I do also just want to say thank you all as well for attending, and we're seeing all your comments roll in.
I love seeing the comments roll in. It's great. But on that note, you guys have been wonderful today. I hope that we brought a lot of great information to you. Of course, as always, these slides will be available to you here within about 24 hours, I believe. I'm sure my team can correct me and make sure that they're out for you. And those go on YouTube as well. But with that being said, at the end of our presentation, we're going to bring CJ in to start our question and answers portion so we can see what everyone's talking about.
All right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Molly. So that was a great presentation. You know what? I'm also, I'm also new in the United States. So just to share, my wife is a WWHSS nurse. So 3 things that we prepared when we moved here in the United States. So you should be physically ready, mentally ready. And the third one is the topic right now, financially ready. So that's why this webinar is really helpful to all of our nurses moving here in the United States. Okay, so now we're on our Q&A session. And I've seen a lot of questions from the chat. So without further ado, let's start with the first question. Okay, so the question is, how soon can a family join after you choose Phil to join? And will Worldwide still help me through the process?
Your Worldwide team is always here to help you. With whatever we can help with, we are going to be more than happy to. Now, your family can join at any point. After you arrive here in the United States, your family can join you at any point. I think it's highly recommended that you're settled in at least to some degree before they join you, just to ensure that everything is set up for success for you and them. You know, having a permanent house, having that vehicle like we discussed, knowing what school you may put your children in, or having an idea of the school zones at least. But really, your family can join at any point after your arrival in the United States. They can follow along with you at any point. So I hope that answers that question.
All right, awesome. So next question. This one is a follow-up question with the first question. So if we will choose follow to join, what are the fees I need to pay for that process? I mean, for my family.
That is a great question. I don't know specific fees involving that. Now, I know follow to join is just a status put on your dependents to have them join you later. But I think would be a great idea if you are interested in this follow to join option is following up with your case manager who can walk you through this step by step, discuss the pros of it and what fees may be associated and what the process may look like if that is something that you're interested in. They're going to have the best information for you and be able to walk you through it step by step.
All right. So next question is, does Worldwide or my employer pay for the plane ticket for the hired person?
I can answer that one. So yeah, Worldwide pays for only the nurses' international flight to the U.S. So one international flight. Mo, do you have anything to add to that?
Nope, that's exactly correct. You'll be assigned a relocation coordinator as you're coming into the end of your transition here, and they'll help get a flight booked with you. We have a great booking tool where you can find a flight that works best for you, and we'll get that booked on your behalf.
All right, good answer. Okay, next question is, will accommodation be provided for me? And if yes, are my dependents included in the house provided to us?
That is a great question. Now, this really depends on who your employer is and what they are offering. And your employer is going to offer something to some degree, whether it be a temporary accommodation or maybe a flat rate amount to be able to book your own temporary accommodation. But this will just be for you. Now, keep in mind that your Worldwide team, the relocation coordinator that will be helping you arrange these initial accommodations upon your arrival, is going to do their best to find something comfortable for you and your dependents. However, it is not always possible due to pricings and availabilities and what your employer is offering. It may not be possible to find, a room that would fit you all comfortably. So you may have to go and book an extra room so that you and your dependents all fit comfortably. Now, again, as I say that, I want you to know that we are always doing our best to find something comfortable for you and your dependents. I don't think I've ever, if I'm booking a temporary accommodation or looking for something for someone, for them to book, I don't think I've ever come into an issue where I couldn't book for their dependents as well. But with pricings, availabilities, what area you're going into, and what your employer's offering, it's hard to tell that right off the bat. And I think that this would be a great conversation to have with your relocation coordinator once you're assigned, to see what the best options are going to be for you and your family.
I just want to emphasize that we have amazing relocation coordinators such as Molly and I, and others that are willing to help you in all the ways possible to find you that temporary housing before you get into your apartment.
Yeah, that is definitely correct. So next question is, after the free accommodation, will you help us provide a guarantor when we apply for an apartment, since we don't have a credit history yet?
This is a great question. Now, we here at Worldwide, nor your employer can be listed as a grantor on your lease. However, a trusted family or friend can absolutely be listed as a grantor. We here at Worldwide also have additional documentations that we can use to help you secure an apartment without having a grantor. And sometimes having an additional deposit, we talked about those rent fees earlier, a safety deposit. If we save enough before our arrival and we can provide a larger deposit, sometimes the apartment complex or housing complex that you are looking to rent with will waive the need of a grantor because of the lack of credit, and they will use that extra deposit amount in place of that. Again, your relocation coordinator can also help with additional documentation just to prove your sponsorship, prove your employment. You also have an offer letter from your employer to help with that as well. But a trusted family or friend can absolutely sign as a grantor for you. However, us here at Worldwide, nor your employer can do that on your behalf.
Yeah, that is definitely correct. And I just want to add to what Molly said, because we also rented, and we are renting an apartment right now. So at first we requested a letter from HealthStaff, and also there are apartments who don't require the credit history. Just give the 1 month advance. I mean, the payment in advance. So, yep. Next question is, so regarding the funds for the future expenses, should the money necessarily be in one's account, or should it be like a cash that we can hold on to?
I think having some sort of cash on you is a smart idea. However, having large amounts of cash on you can raise concern for safety. I think that's where my biggest thing comes in is, you don't want to lose anything, you don't want to misplace anything. So I think having it in some sort of account would be smart. You can use an international credit card here in the United States. So having an international credit card upon your arrival is a great idea. But having some sort of cash, whenever I travel, I like to have just a little bit of cash on me, just in case of emergency situations. DeAndre, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, my thoughts are, I would say, and when coming to the U.S., we have amazing partnerships. Like, we've got your credit union that once you're here in the U.S., you can set up a checking account and get that money instead of in cash into a bank account safely where it can't be lost. As well as it's a way that you can have a card instead of a lot of cash lying around. As some cities are, again, more safer than others. I think it's so important to have a big amount of money inside of a bank account.
I agree completely.
Oh yeah, yep, I agree. Okay, next question: do we get the green card immediately? Is it this a long process?
So upon your arrival into the United States, as soon as you go through U.S. Customs and Immigration at your port of entry, so it's on your flight over into the United States, your Social Security number and your green card are going to activate. We typically see the Social Security number arrive about 2 to 3 weeks after your arrival. And that green card, on average, recently I've been seeing about 2 to 3 months. That can be a little bit quicker. That could be a little bit longer. But on average, I think we're seeing about 2 to 3 months. Would you say that's about accurate, DeAndre?
That is accurate, as it does take around 2-3 months. And so, just again, the preparation is key.
All right. Yep. So I also want to share about our green card when we first got it. So when we arrived here in the United States, after a week, we called the department or the company who's dealing with the green card. So that's my 2 cents. So when you arrive here in the United States, it's best to check if your green card or your name is already in the system, so that you will get your green card faster. So in our experience, it's like within 2 months, we already received our green card. Okay, so on to the next question. So this one is an interesting one. So she said, in Nepal, we are not allowed for international payment due to government regulations. So I had to use the cards or credit cards of my cousin and friend outside Nepal. Can I get a refund with payment receipt not on my name?
That is a good question. I'm assuming that when we are talking about this, we're discussing some of the things that you would be eligible for reimbursement on. Does that sound about right to you too, DeAndre, thinking about reimbursements? I would say as long as you are having open communication with your worldwide team, disclosing that this is what's happening in your case, this is X, Y, and Z of why things are happening this way. And you talk with your team with full disclosure that your team's going to be willing to help you. Let them know ahead of time. Let them know, like, this is why we're doing these things. This is why this is coming across like this. I think as long as you're having full disclosure with your team who is helping you, that they'll be willing to help you as well. Does that sound about right to you guys as well?
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I think communication is key. And we have wonderful reimbursement specialists here at Worldwide that when looking at reimbursements, they will help assess these situations and provide those answers to you.
All right. Okay. So next question is it possible to stay with a relative or friend who is living near the state where I'll be assigned to cut the cost while waiting for SSN and USRN temporary license?
I think that this is a fantastic idea. Now, there are certain special approvals and processes that we have to put in place to ensure that your employer has all the information that they need. We have all the information that we need. And everyone knows what is happening on or going on in your case. So once you get connected with your relocation coordinator, bring this up to them. Ask them what needs to be done in order to have this approved and what this approval may look like. And they'll be happy to get you proper documentations and forms so that you can stay with family while you're waiting on that Social Security number and while you're waiting to begin working. And they'll go over exactly what that looks like, as it does look a lot different for everyone's employer and who they are and what they offer, what they allow. But I think that it's a great idea to stay with family upon arrival while you're waiting for that. It really just depends on who you're employed with and what approvals need to be put in place to get that approved.
Okay, that's awesome. So we're down with our last question, and I think this is an interesting one. So with regards to the relocation team, what platform will they be using to contact us?
I can answer that one. In terms of our relocation team, we contact you all through your emails, as well as whenever you would also like to do a phone call, or that is possible as well. We also use Google Meets to talk with our candidates. And so we have amazing relocation coordinators and specialists that are here for you every day and are willing to answer every single question. Molly?
I agree completely. We can send invites through Zoom. If Google Meets doesn't work for you, we can work through WhatsApp, which is a great application to use on your phone to be able to have conversations with international numbers. So WhatsApp's always an option. The initial contact will always come through your Gmail account, like you have contacted through your case manager. But if you're interested in having a call to kind of go over all of these wonderful items more in detail with someone face to face, I think that setting up a call or Google Meet or Zoom Meet or a call through WhatsApp is a fantastic idea. And they'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Awesome. Yeah, that is definitely correct. Okay, so I think that's all from our Q&A today. And yeah, if you're already working with us, if you have further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to your case managers. And also, if you're not still working with Worldwide HealthStaff, you can apply with us. And also, we have our live recruiters waiting for you. I will put that on the chat. So if you're interested to work with us, just click the chat and speak to one of our recruiters. And also, we really thankful that you are all here today to get more information about the expenses that you will be looking when moving here in the United States. So it's really great to have all you here in our webinar. So back to you, Molly.
Thank you so much, CJ. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We are so happy to have you with us. Again, like CJ said, don't hesitate to reach out to your case manager, or if you're already in your transition phase, to your relocation coordinator. We're happy to clarify anything that you may need. We appreciate you all and hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.